a superhero back in school, all right?
Right.
All right.
If they let me do that in the classroom, I guarantee I'd have been a valedictorian. If Captain Save-A-Ho...
How is that not distraction for other children and their learning environment? I'm sorry, if I had a child that was going to school with this kid, I would probably have a little bit of an issue because it's a whole lot of attention seeking on one child, and where is the attention being balanced out with the rest of the kids and learning and all of that?
Special treatment. Why is this girl getting special treatment where the other children?
Right.
Well, and so that's what
everybody.
And so that's what they're kind of referencing here, is that just because the school believes that, you know, harboring an environment where the child feels the most comfortable is the best for their education, that's how they're allowing this behavior to continue. And they say, so she's allowed to behave, and they keep referencing feline. She's allowed to behave feline so long as it doesn't become a distraction to the rest of the class, which, I mean, it might be good by around, like, Christmas vacation, but now for the first quarter, that's going to be some weird shit. That's going to take a lot of getting used to. But she does all kinds of feline stuff in the class. She's allowed to get up, wander, sit in the corner, jump up on desks, and the teacher actually has...
Okay.
That's a distraction.
Yeah.
That's a distraction at that point. Like,
Jumping
what?
up on desks, walking around like that. No. I mean, we've all been there where we do some freaky things, especially like behind closed doors, and maybe even acted feline, you know, behind closed doors. But at the same time, there is, in my opinion, just a way to act in society.
In public, like a person.
In public, in a learning environment. Let's take the public out of it.
Especially a learning environment.
Going to school for is to learn.
Well, she's learning how to lick her own butthole. That's what she's.
And well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Kids mimic what they see. Okay, major piece of learning is by visual adaptation. Oh, I see this, I do it. Right. So what are they encouraging for the rest of the children that don't act like this, but yet there might be a child in there that wants the same kind of attention. So I have to act like a cat in order to get this attention.
If she can be a cat, can I be a pervert?
Right.
Or another kid wanting to be a dog and start chasing the cat.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, yeah, I'm a dirty dog. Come here, kitty.
And so here's...
Of course you are.
Here's my take on it is... I really think like it's one of those catch-22 situations where you guys allowed for this. I mean, this whole identity crisis and, you know, like people identifying as, you know, this, that, and the other objects or whatever. And now the LGBTQ community, you know, dealing with identity and transition and everything, you're really taking a spotlight away from them and making a mockery out of it, which is it's gonna create a bunch of backlash. I mean, 2 months from now, I mean, they might reference this video and be like, oh yeah, that guy said it, and damn him too, just for bringing it up. But you're really making a mockery out of the identity thing by allowing this kind of behavior so blatantly in an educational environment. And also, you're not doing this person any favors, because for 1 year, it's cool. Maybe throughout her tenure at this specific private school might be okay. But what happens in college? Like, that's not going to fly in college. That's not going to fly in a workplace. Now, I hate to say it like this because it brings a lot of like negative views about it, and even saying it's going to be weird. But I feel like you're setting this person up to not have a career in any known industry outside of like a furry community, OnlyFans, something where... Yeah, but how many times can you remake Catwoman before it's just like, all right, well, we're done with you?
She can work on computers.
Well, I definitely agree. I mean, you want to be able to coddle children, you know, to a certain extent of encouraging them to learn and to be comfortable in a classroom. But there is a point where it just becomes a distraction, and I'm going to kind of have an unpopular opinion here, but you can't assume or expect society to conform to what you identify as.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've had a lot of those conversations real recently with a lot of the youth that think, hey, I can make everything.
This is my truth. You cannot invalidate my truth. No.
Everyone can go live their truth, be their truth.
Right. And that's what we're here for.
But you can't assume or expect me to conform to your truth, and
how you associate with it, how you
exactly.
interpret it.
Now, to be fair about this conversation, right? Okay, I mean, being an animal when you're clearly not an animal is one thing. However you feel inside, okay. But Dave Chappelle said it best: is like, how far do I need to take part in your
piece of it? Yeah.
Delusion. I'm saying it's not my thing. You know what I mean?
Piece of it.
So if you want to feel a certain way, that's fine. That's cool. But I abstain. I abstain from things that are, let's say, far out there.
The bitch of it is that makes you wrong. And
that makes you wrong. Isn't that something?
And that's the problem. Is just like, you're not wrong to 90% of the population, probably to 99.9% of the population who probably feels the exact same way. But we brought this up last week, where it only takes one person and to have an unpopular opinion become popular for everyone to try and avoid the backlash, avoid the hate, and follow suit with, well, I think she can do whatever she wants. No, when you go home, you're going to talk to your family about, did you hear about this crazy shit? But when you're in the public eye, when you're, when you stand to lose something, you're going to change your opinion, you're going to conform to your environment, and that's where this grand allowance kind of comes in, to where, oh, well, nobody's really comfortable with it, but everybody acts comfortable with it and looks at each other like, I think she's fine. Do you think she's fine? No. But I can't say that because...
Yeah. They're making everyone else uncomfortable. Why does the one conquer the majority?
Now, to be fair as well, if it's a kink, for example, if you have this particular kink, because there are people like, a good example is the dare people who like to pretend they're in the forest, and they get what they call scritches, and they get little scritches on their little head, and they go...
Oh, a furry. Yep, a furry.
Not just,
I love furry.
Just random, And you can have that particular interest with yourself or in your partner, someone who can, and this is the word that we keep coming back to, consent. They are consenting to this proposal that you're making, or this role play is essentially what it is. They're consenting to that, and you're asking you're forcing the rest of us to consent to your whatever scenario you come up with. So if I'm saying to you guys, all right, inside, I'm a wolf. I identify as a wolf. I have a wolf spirit in a human body, and all of you will address me as wolfkin.
I'm a dragon.
You're so cute.
I mean, if you want to consent to that, cool. If you don't, then I can't call you out for being, bigoted.
Off. Well, look, I'm going to put it in the simplest terms, since we are on SafeWord and we're teaching you about kink. I'm sorry. That is my hard limit. I'm good. If you like it, I love it. But that's my hard limit. I don't understand it. I'm not here for it for myself. But if you're there for it, I'm here for you. Like, why can't it just be that? Why can't it be that simple? Kink has it figured out. That's my hard limit. And no one gets offended. Oh, okay, that's all we do. Okay.
But it's weird that, the rest of society isn't allowed to have a hard limit so long as this person is putting their reality into play. And it's, I don't know. It's like, I hate to say it like this, but this is going to be one of those pivotal, crucial moments where, in the histories of it all, it's going to come down to, where was the downfall of society? When we let people pretend to be cats in class. When we let people pretend too far, when we let people's fantasies overtake reality, and then had to conform the rest of their life towards, cultivating this fantasy that they have throughout their life, throughout their job, throughout their career, throughout their family, throughout society, throughout everything.
Okay, wait. I'm going to have to interrupt you, because you can intermingle the two. Okay, you really can. You can intermingle your fantasies and your realities in the same aspect, right? But you don't have to project that on other people. If that's what you're living in your fantasy for your world, whatever, you're walking through your day and that's what you need to get through it, I'm here for it. cool, that's fine. But when you're starting to project it on other people and go, you have to accept it because I'm a tree. You're going to call me a tree. I'm a damn tree. You call me a tree or I don't like you, then you are
You're a tree phobe. Tree phobe.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm like, you can't call him a racist, a tree phobe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's when the projection of your outward fantasies, you can live your fantasies all you want. That's what the fuck a fantasy is. You know what I'm saying? Live it in your head. You ain't even got to get consent because you're living it in your head. But when it...
Ah.
Oh, no. She
froze.
And she was getting somewhere.
I said when you're projecting it on a person and you're saying you have to accept this or you have a problem, that's where the problem begins. Because like every person is their individual. You know what I'm saying? And what you like, what you don't like, it should be accepted regardless. Regardless.
Like to even put it in a different perspective, right? I think I'm cool. I walk around in my head, I'm cool. Right? And I'm like, you agree that I'm cool, right? And everyone's like, no, I don't. Right. I'm like, that's not fair. If she can be a cat and they're forced to call her a cat, then you should be forced to think I'm cool.
That's actually a really valid point. I mean, it's hilarious as hell, but I mean, it's the best way to put it. And here's the other thing, and here's the implications that are going to come with this, because I guarantee you this isn't the last we hear of it. The longer you allow this person to continue to behave feline throughout their school and everything, what's to stop her later on from saying, I don't have to pay taxes because the law doesn't state felines have to pay taxes?
That's sovereign citizen territory. I know about that too. I'm all over that one.
Like and other stuff like I don't have to pay for meals because you guys feed strays around here and I identify as a stray. I don't need a driver's license and none of that. Yeah, like I don't have to conform to the laws that keep everybody safe, like traffic laws and everything, because I'm a cat.
Right. Yeah.
And so, what's going to be the shit show when she tries to get her driver's license, and instead of putting male or female or whatever, drop down menu they've got in Australia as far as what you can put on under your identifiers on your, identification, I want to put cat on there. Ma'am, you can't do that.
Tugger, hello.
Hold on real quick. With the way the world is going and all the concessions we've already made, there's just going to be new laws made around. This is Ted reincarnated. If y'all ever watched the movie Ted, okay, the second one, he had no rights because he was a teddy bear and he's owned. So he has no rights.
Property.
So the law worked around it to try and get this teddy bear rights. So if we're like saying we're a flower or a tree or a cat, then we're just going to start making concessions for cats, trees, and then the law is going to get really freaking confusing because real cats and real trees then have rights. What? And we're going to be going to court for them.
They have some rights, to be honest. They're, you can't abuse them.
Right, definitely they do. But then what are we doing? We're a really screwed up society because we're going to be going to court fighting over this stuff. For real?
The cat on the stand. All right.
Well, and they're only
Rumpelstiltskin, I'm going to ask you some questions.
We are going to be an exhausted society.
And here's the thing: this is in Australia. This is in Australia, so I mean, it's only a matter of time if it's not already that the school year just started, here in the States. So there's going to be a couple of students, following suit, saying, "Hey, it flies in Australia. Why doesn't it fly here?" Well, then I want to move to Australia, where I can be free to be whatever I want in this place. But she does attend a private school, so maybe for the price of admission, I don't know, but
pay a little extra tuition, girl. You can be a frog, a flower, what you want to be?
I'm Batman.
It's like the army. Be all you can be.
I'm Batman. I'd like to be out the army. Thanks. Can I do that? Can I be not a soldier? That'd be great.
Oh gosh.
All right. So
imagine trying that. Can you imagine pulling that nonsense in the military? Excuse me, Sergeant.
Oh my god.
I identify as... You're going to identify at the end of my boot! Okay.
And just so you know...
So you identify as mud.
These two squares right here. These two squares, military. That's why they're over here going, oh gosh.
Can you imagine? I would love to see that.
Oh my god. I would love to be a fly on the wall. I would have loved to have been a
Pay money.
fly on the fucking wall when you tried to tell Gunnery Sergeant Rios I'm a cat. God, I would
I
have.
would pay.
I almost want to re-enlist just to see if that happens.
In basic training, to see somebody come up, sir, you're gonna call me by they, them.
Woo!
Oh, so there's two of you in there. Woo!
You're for Marines, like you're already not allowed to identify as a person. Like you're a recruit, and you don't get to say I until you graduate. You have to when you refer to yourself, it's in the third person. This recruit requests, and if you ever said I or need, God, the drill instructors lost their damn minds. Like needs. I'm here for your fucking needs. Never mind.
Now, mind you, disclaimer: we are talking about the military and our own personal views. Okay, so if you are on the gender spectrum and you identify as they them, that's fine. But if you were to join the military, this would be your possible experience.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's. You remember what we had to sign to join to enlist? I mean, it's a packet about that thick, so I'm pretty sure there's been some addendums and some revisions added in there where it's like we don't give a shit. Your they them does not exist.
I don't know. It could change. It could change.
It really could, because like the don't talk, don't tell, that shit went out the window.
Don't tell.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell. That shit went out the window. Like, in what? And I never thought it was gonna leave. Like 2004, that shit was like bye.
No, actually, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a revision to the previous policy where you weren't allowed to be gay in the military if they found out. You were
yeah, so it was like make sure nobody finds out. That was the law.
Right.
And
but
so then don't ask, don't tell was, hey, we're done forcing people out of the military based upon, their sexual orientation, but you're not allowed to be flamboyant with it. You're not allowed to be out with it. We're not going to ask, and if you don't tell, then we're all copacetic. And so that was the revision to the policy. So that was the policy when I got out in 2014. That's
and then in I think Obama's last term when they got rid of it.
Did they?
Yeah, they got rid of it. That's what I'm saying. Is that it's gone. And the thing is that like, okay, so my ex-husband was in the Marine Corps, right? And he had somebody in his shop that was gay. And throughout the first 3 years of his thing, he kept it under wraps. Then the last year, and it wasn't because he was getting out, because he was re-enlisting. But the last year, he got mad flamboyant, like to a point where he was wearing his uniform wrong and getting in trouble for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they couldn't come down on him because that whole thing was going out the window. And he was saying about who he was sleeping with, the whole nine, and he wasn't getting in trouble. And 2 years prior, people were going to the brig for that. And I'm just like,
No.
wait, what?
You can't do that. You can't roll up your BDUs, or not the BDUs anymore, the BCUs. You can't roll them up in a little knot down here and tie them up.
Yeah. If they were on break and we were down at Delmar Beach and they all playing football, that sure went like this. Just yeah. Out there with his staff sergeant, his gunny, and they would say nothing. Nothing. And so I was like, okay, so maybe it's out the window. Believe me, I ain't got no hate on it. I'm by myself. But I was just kind of like, well, what happened? What changed? You know what I'm saying?
No.
So yeah, I mean, Knight's not off by saying that it could change. It really could, because they already threw that thing out the window. So you know what I'm saying? That could not be someone's experience. So shoot, in a couple of years, somebody might be able to go into the Marine Corps and say, this recruit is not a recruit. I am a tree. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody stand behind a tree. Everybody get behind a tree.
Oh, well, then if you're going to do that, I mean, expect to catch a ton of hell in boot camp over that. I mean,
that'd be so much fun.
Man.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's very possible. You know,
you're going to be a bunch of tree huggers.
Identify like that. So, I had a friend that identified as a flower, and you had to call her a flower.
No, thanks.
No, we're good. So here's my whole thing, and I'm probably gonna get a shit ton of hate mail and everything, but I've got a hard time remembering names, and I wasn't the best at English. Like I passed by the skin of my teeth. So you want me to remember pronouns now? Like I didn't remember your name. You want me to remember like these several things that I have to adjust my very limited understanding of proper English to facilitate. No, it's all bad. Hey, you.
Yeah, right. It becomes hey.
Yeah, that thing. Sorry, but
Wait till they look at you. Okay, now I got your attention. Hi. Okay, so I was going to ask you this question.
just gonna turn to sign language. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, now that you're looking at me. All right, so moving on.
Really hard to use people's pronouns, but it is hard. It's hard, especially when you're in a certain way of thinking.
Well, and so that's the other thing is just like if you're in an environment where, I mean, I have to imagine, like it's kind of like a group setting where everybody's got their own pronouns and they're always varying. So even if
Yes,
you could, even if I could bring myself to remember one, I mean, I couldn't remember having, like a group of 4 friends. That's going to take a long adjustment period. And the problem is that a lot of people are so ingrained in the identity thing where they don't feel like you should be granted a grace period to pick up, learn, and become familiar with. It's like if you dead name me the one time, you're done. And it's like, well, okay, well, you know what, you did me a favor. All right, so
this is that's one of the issues that we can definitely get into. But it's all about giving people helping them learn. Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the response is like, oh, I shouldn't have to teach you. If you want to go that route, people are not willing to learn, and this applies to everything. If you want to apply it to relationships, if you want to apply it to kink, and like, oh, you want to, this is why we're here. We're like, oh, well, we have to tell you this, then it's your problem. No,
right. You can't just walk into a dungeon and be like, okay, just give me the works. What's the works? What do you mean? Like, okay, well then fine. I'm gonna pull out the knife play, the medical play, the floggers, the whips, the fire. Like,
your works isn't the same as my works, so you don't know what you're asking for. Why don't you specify before we both end up in trouble? All right, so moving on. This is actually something that I really wanted to get to because it affects a couple of cast members. OnlyFans allegedly, and I love when they throw in allegedly.
Allegedly.
OnlyFans allegedly bribed Meta. In case you're not familiar with Facebook, it's now Meta. OnlyFans bribed Meta to flag its own customers as terrorists if they used OnlyFans as competitors like Fansly and these other, adult service providers. And so, man, where do we start with this? Should we start with the Anti-Monopolization Act, or... I mean, in case anybody's not familiar and you think Monopoly is just a board game, real quick crash course in economics, real fast. So, everybody's familiar with cell phone providers, right?
Yes.
Do you know why? Do you know why there's several different companies that offer the same services?
I'm sure you're going to tell us, Kate. Why don't you enlighten us?
It's to stop this thing called a monopoly. So a monopoly occurs when a monopoly occurs when an industry is able to basically take the corner of the market and say, I own this, I own it entirely, and because I'm the only person that provides this service, and if you want to use it, you're susceptible completely to my rules, laws, regulations. If I want to jump the price on you, you can't argue it, or you have to discontinue using the service. So using like Verizon, the reason why AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile exist is so that way Verizon can't charge you $1,000 a month for a cell phone service that only costs them $20 a month to run, and capitalizing completely on the market. So this is going to be a huge shit show for OnlyFans because this is a monopolization tactic to try and make themselves the only company able to provide these services. But like I said, there's some something called the Anti-Monopolization Act that not a lot of people are familiar with, that governs this exact thing. Any kind of blackmail, bribery, or any like underhanded tactic to make themselves the only company able to provide a service.
The mafia.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, like they don't get to mob the service. Specifically targeted entertainers who used competitors of OF to market content. Resulted in a shadow ban across all of their social media platforms because they were placed on a terrorist watch list.
Yep.
How? Explain to me.
Some people
a pair
can't
of
get on
boobies are weapons of mass destruction. Explain to me.
Well,
Explain to me.
Well, and here's the thing: they can't even travel. Like how one of these things got out, at least from what I heard, was that a woman that does have an OnlyFans was marked as this, and she could not get on a plane with her passport. Everything, she was marked as a terrorist. And she was going for a job. That was the crazy thing. She was going for a freaking job, and they blocked her from traveling altogether.
That is dumb. Because, you know, every time I travel, I bring these guns on board. Oh.
Where?
What? Yeah, go ahead, play it, because I ain't got it.
All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I have to be my own sound deck. I'm sorry.
For now.
These companies, though, are just getting so greedy, and they're messing with people's livelihoods, and that's not okay. That is not okay.
No.
But it's meta. It's meta. You know what? I'm not even gonna call them meta. It's Facebook. Okay, I'm not part of that delusion, Zuckerberg. Okay, you can call yourself meta all you want. I won't consent.
So much trouble though lately in recent years with everything that they're doing. These fact checking, just everything,
releasing information. Mess.
No, they're dirty. They're dirty.
Yeah.
Stay away. And TikTok too. And TikTok. That stuff is all in China.
Look, it's all interconnected. Honestly, all of it's interconnected. So I mean, like Instagram. I mean, like I was on Facebook for MySpace back then when MySpace was around. Okay, then Facebook's and Facebook took a tank when they opened it up to non-college students. It took a tank, and so then Instagram was born. So I hopped on Instagram, and now Facebook owns Instagram, and Instagram's crap too. Like just it's all the way around. They have their hands in everything.
Well, and it's difficult to make headway on any of them.
It is not fair, and for them to legitimately use this label of terrorism, how possibly, what content could be even considered terroristic?
Well, and so when I first read the headline, or when it first came out, like my first immediate thought was, and I think I explained this, just in a meeting between us, where I thought this was like those people with a ton of money, like exorbitant amounts of money, like the oil princes, like Middle Easterners that just have more money than they know what to do with, being able to see these beautiful women and people online and saying, hey, for $1 million, you come out here and, spend a day with me or something. What I thought it was being labeled terrorist was somebody leaving with a bank account of 0, traveling to another country, returning with a bank account of $1 million, and it's viewed as a gift, and so therefore untaxable. So I thought this was like a government thing where it's like, hey, you're not allowed to travel out of the country, make $1 million, come back and just have $1 million without giving, Uncle Sam his 10%. No, not even the case. It was literally just, all within our own borders, where it was, hey, if you're using a competitor, you're a terrorist.
I mean, even on OnlyFans, they have a ton of words and stuff that can get you banned, can get things taken down. There's alternate transactions that you could possibly make, and you cannot talk about that on OnlyFans. So you've got to figure out a way to get people to talk about it on another site somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? They really monopolize everything you're doing. So it's like you can't say you're on another platform. You can't say, it's only the ones that they approve. So Twitter's approved, YouTube, but YouTube has to be it's got to be a channel like this. It can't just be a hair channel or a makeup channel. They won't let you just link that. You know what I'm saying? They review your stuff. Like there's so much that goes into it. So I could see where they are underhandedly doing some stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, and it's just like, what does a moderator make to go through these thousands of profiles? Because here, based on my limited understanding, there's probably a programmer that's probably like, oh no, that's easy. But based on my limited understanding, how would you go about going into, just to even produce like this terrorist watch list, which means you have to go into a social media profile, find users that have link trees, open the link trees up and find out which ones use platforms similar to this but aren't exactly that, and then produce a ban on them. So I mean, I feel like that's a ton of extra work.
It's like I said, there's keywords.
Yeah, it's all algorithms that they use to scan through the internet. So, I mean, whenever that robot rapper gets, put out of a job, he's going to go work for them to start scanning the internet.
They've already got it. I mean, like that's the thing. Like when you're doing OnlyFans, you're doing your own promo, right? And everything's interconnected. It really is, and everything's under keywords. And so enough keywords get dropped, you get picked up. Believe me, the bots find you. Yeah, the bots find you, pull you down, ban you, shadow ban you. It's crazy. People have had their stuff shut down for nothing more than performing or acting on a kink, and it's not even physical. It's like a video, it's a picture, it's this or that, but it's somebody's kink, it's what they're into, and that's what this platform is supposed to be for. So what?
It's not, and the thing is, it's not just there, because these companies with these monopolies, and I'm going to talk about Twitch now. There are a number of female streamers. This one was in Arizona, and she was streaming a game, and she had cleavage, because she was blessed to be a very healthy young woman.
Right.
And they banned her channel because of inappropriate content. Now, the thing is, there are other women on there who were wearing less on the platform, and they get banned. I mean, they don't get banned. She got banned because she had a bigger chest than they did.
Right.
And that's completely unfair. And there's no recourse. There's no recourse, and there's no alternative.
Stuff like that happens on YouTube, too. Smaller channels that, say certain things you can't get away with because, bigger channels, though, can say everything. But if a small channel's growing, we gotta stop that. I mean, it happens all over the place. It's very controlled as far as who gets up and what you doing for me.
There needs to be an alternative
on freaking the internet.
That would be another option. There has to be another option. But there was I can't even tell you the other. Vimeo is not an option to YouTube. There was another DLive or something. Anyway, there are platforms that nobody uses.
Right. Yep.
It's a monopoly.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, so
and more people are using YouTube now than like watching TV or streaming devices. Do you realize that? Like I saw a kids show that is strictly on YouTube the other day on an ad on TV, and he's got his own toy line, and I'm going, what? Wait, what? Like you're not nationally accredited anywhere, but you have a toy line going into Target. Yeah.
So I'm going to put a pin in Hot Topics because the last one I want to discuss after we go through the real reason for the video tonight, which is whistleblowers. So we use the term whistleblowers pretty loosely. I mean, we didn't know how else to kind of describe this. So this is what we just, quick title that we came up with to discuss some of the things like coming up in recent events. We know the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trials, a little dated now as opposed to some of the other things that are coming up. But SafeWord didn't get a chance to talk about them, so now you got to sit through our rants, raves, and opinions based upon recent events. So I'm going to start this off. For everybody out there that's a football fan, watches that one big national football organization. We're trying to play it really cagey with the AI that's monitoring our system right now. So try not to throw out too many keywords. All right, so there's a particular player in one of those great American football leagues that recently, topic of discussion among the league and, just news outlets all over the place, goes by the name Deshaun Watson. Now, for anybody that's not familiar with Deshaun Watson, he was a quarterback for a team out in Houston, like all them Texans out there. While he was on the team, he got into a pretty decent amount of trouble based on some services he was getting from massage therapists, where a couple of them were coming forward saying that he was being a little sexually explicit, making sexual advances, and on a couple occasions did actually get accused of sexual assault. So this is going to be a really hairy story to get into, just because there's a lot of a lot of facts flying around out there. So I'm going to do my best to try and cut through some of the weeds and give you guys as much of, like what information is out there right now, and save some of that hairy stuff for the opinions. But basically what happened, 24 women filed sexual misconduct claims saying that he was coercive and lewd sexual behavior during massage appointments. Now, it's kind of an issue and a little bit of a gray area, because a lot of people think, our happy endings are synonymous with massage appointments. Not necessarily the case. I mean, if that's your viewer mentality of it, I don't recommend going and getting a massage, because they're actually very
boring. Yeah,
very
I agree.
Professional.
I
Absolutely
love
boring.
massages.
Right?
I can honestly say I don't like massages, but that's because I don't like strangers touching me. Like, I can't relax in a massage. It's like, you're a stranger and you're freaking, my shirt's off, and
not only that, but they're touching you in a very non-sexual manner. How boring. How boring.
Oh, boring. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
All right, all of you guys can go kick rocks, because massages are the best.
I don't mind a good massage, but I have to find I'm really picky with it, so it's like I have to find a spot that I kind of vibe with, and then I'll enjoy going there. But my first time in any establishment is always just like, it's awkward, I'll admit. But once you get over that initial awkwardness, it can be kind of enjoyable.
You know what's not awkward? A little tickle down south. That's not.
That's hella awkward. What you talking about?
Listen to y'all. Listen. Any other day of the week, in any other place, y'all have been like, oh yeah, hell, sign me up. But all of a sudden, now that it's a massage parlor,
I know what I'm walking into. There's consent. There's a contract on the table. I know what I'm there for. It's a fun party.
There's a transaction, right? You pay extra, and there's a post-credit scene.
Back rubs.
Right? That's it. You pay a little bit. There's post-credit.
Locally, where I live now, actually got shut down for doing those happy endings.
Nice. Where are you from?
It's like
opened up a foot massage place down here now, but
dang, right up your alley.
To work there, not to go.
They did
Jeez.
get shut down for offering happy endings, and if you're in a major, league like that, there's people who's going to know where that's okay. Right, not every establishment is going to have
that.
How would you know?
That special menu.
They're
not all.
You're playing an away game. You're in a hostile city. You need a massage after the game. You go to.
Whistle.
How would you know?
Whistle. Okay. What we teach here on SafeWord is to get consent. So I would expect that if you walk into a massage parlor, that you ask for consent. Is this something that we do here? Do you do happy endings? I'm willing to pay extra. Just a thought.
I'm sure that's what he did. I'm sure he pulled out a 50, kind of waved it around like this, and then pointed.
No, he probably didn't do any of that. He probably just was like, yo, girl, touch it.
All right, so back when this happened, 24 women came forward. He's denied the claims. 23 of them have been settled. One of them still pushing for it. It all happened between fall of 2019 and spring of 2021, where he booked 66 appointments. Some women chose not to sue, and even though they claimed that he did request for sexual acts, not all of them sued. 24 women did. One of the other things that is kind of being a black mark right now is the league actually provided facilities. The league actually even provided an NDA for him to give these massage therapists. And so it kind of makes it look like they were aware and turning a blind eye to what he was doing.
Consent. That's it right there. Contract.
That's where the league needs to also stop, because haven't they been into so much trouble for not basically standing up for like the wives and girlfriends of these players? They've been getting so much flack, and then they turn around and do this.
Well, here's another thing, in case anybody forgot, within the last, I think, 18 months, do you guys remember down in Florida, I think it was Jupiter, Florida, where Roger Goodell, the owner of the Patriots, was found, they even had tape of him receiving happy endings in a massage parlor.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
And that kind of was just like, oh, yeah, no.
Yep. Sweeping under the rug.
Never mind. It didn't happen, and that's inadmissible in court, and it's all speculation. And by the way, did you know all of them aren't even citizens? Like, that's the real topic that we should be discussing. And that kind of went away. And now this person probably took a page out of that damn book, and, you know, instead of brushing it under the rug, now the league's deciding to throw the book at it.
Right.
Come on now, boys will be boys. Listen. You can't fault these boys for having a little downtime, okay? They play a long season, all right? You gotta give them a break.
No, if we're drawing,
he's playing devil's advocate, but that's not really what he thinks. Just so y'all.
Boys will be boys.
Like, somebody's gotta be the bad guy. I'll be it. Boys will be boys. You know you don't believe that.
Well, and so that's
why I gave him the good old boy accent. That's why.
And so that's not even the only controversy going around within sports leagues. There's also a gentleman by the name of Trevor Bauer. And this guy, it's actually based upon the facts and my interpretation of it. I mean, I'm going to give it from my humble perspective, and if you disagree with it, I apologize, but get a platform. It seems
we're to stand on a soapbox.
It seems to me. Well, let me just get through the facts real fast. He was the pitcher for the Los Angeles, the team in L.A., and was alleged to have
Los
committed.
Angeles team.
I almost slipped. So
Los Angeles Dodgers.
He was alleged to have committed sexual assault and battery. The woman. So here's where it starts getting a little flaky. Is the woman is demanding a jury trial, damages, legal costs, and further relief as this court may deem proper and just. So, sounds like a payday.
I want all your money.
The league gave him a 324 game suspension. So that's a lengthy period of time that he's not allowed to collect on the contract that he signed with his team. And furthermore, a lot of the information that's out there now just it doesn't look good for her. I mean, even the legal representation that she was hiring to try and represent her have stepped down and refused to represent her further, because it seems that a lot of the information that she was putting forward is one-sided. Now, here's where I'm going to give you my speculative opinion. It seems like they were in a BDSM relationship, because woman alleges Bauer choked her to unconsciousness during sex on each of 2 occasions. Now, the verbiage in that is very important, because getting choked unconscious on 1 occasion would be enough to not return. So on 2 different occasions, it might kind of seem like, hey, there was some consent there. There was a contract in place. You understood what you were traveling for.
What you're getting yourself into because you came back for more.
No, whistle. No, look, he profusely apologized for the first time and promised not to do it again. All right? Sorry, baby. I didn't mean to do it that hard. And she's like, okay, but I'm going to come back on Friday. All right, just take it easy. And then he went a little overboard, and she was like, you know what? That's it. You can't be trusted. That's what happened.
Okay, so here's another thing, and let's see if you still feel the same way. The woman alleges Bauer used a closed fist to punch her in the genitals repeatedly.
Is there a word for that? Is there a word?
Yes. Can't say it on here. Keywords. But yes, there is.
So
that is a key.
Yeah.
Can I get a tiger uppercut? Is that what you call it?
Yes, it is a kink. Yes, it is. Calista, we had this whole conversation about how I used to work in the dungeon, and the guys about getting kicked in the balls, and neither one of them could believe that I got paid to do it and run across the yard, and it wasn't just me; it was like the entire
staff,
female dom,
whoever was working that day.
Yep, let's go! Come on, girls, get your high heels on.
But that's the guys. You ladies like getting a fist up the chimney?
It's a kink. If there's fisting, what do you think? That's the teaser.
But that's different. That's different. That's a process. This is not like a sure you can. It's not one of those.
Foreplay before the entry.
Not like a tiger uppercut.
But
quick question, did you cover this? Didn't he provide a contract that they had between the two of them?
So, and here's where, like I said, here's where the details get a little confusing, where he's actually fighting back against this and making ground with it. But the perception is that he's still suspended in the league. Now, the league provided the suspension because he violated the league's policies on domestic violence, child abuse, and what was the other thing? They basically have rules in place ever since Adrian Peterson, and like you were mentioning earlier, leagues not representing wives of players, adequately enough. And so this was part of a policy that they put in place to answer some of these atrocities that were occurring. And just getting charged, just being brought up on allegedly performing these acts was enough for the league to put a suspension in place. Now, the suspension hasn't been lifted, even though a lot of the evidence is going in his direction. It's merely just the perception of, hey, this is how the public views you, so this is the recourse that we have to take.
The repercussions for it. We gotta look like we're reprimanding you.
He has produced a contract, and like I said, this is where it gets a little funny. Is the information that she provided was one-sided, so it's like she deleted her half of the text where she's consenting to this and just showing this is what he said here, this is what he said here, this is what he said here. None of the responses that she made in between. And on his end, he can say, oh no, here's my phone, here's the other side of that conversation where she was approving, I was receiving consent, and she was up for it. So what I think ended up happening was, hey, they reached a point in their relationship where they were no longer, vibing with each other. Instead of going their separate ways, hey, I was in a BDSM relationship with you. I can now claim abuse.
Well, that happens kind of commonly, honestly. That's a bratty sub. That's somebody bratting the heck out, and you've probably ended it. You've probably been like, okay, look, I've had enough. I'm ending the contract. And when you're a big name like that, they can really come for you. You know what I'm saying?
But the response, here's where I can agree with the response of the league. Okay, so the league has a responsibility for a particular, let's say, public image for its athletes. There are certain, things that they can and can't do in public. All right. So the suspension, just like if you were a cop under investigation until things come out to light. So there's a suspension, right? At the end of this, if he was in the wrong, the suspension was just. If he was cleared, okay, then what the league should do is issue an apology
and
saying we had to suspend him for the course of the investigation, and now that he's clear, we're sorry about the situation. Welcome back. He'll get paid for his time. That would be fair.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen though.
Not likely.
That would be fair, and in a perfect world. And here's why SafeWord's here: learn how to communicate effectively.
And also, here's the importance of contract. Here's the importance of, saving messages and everything, because that was the damning evidence in the beginning, which is why, like, it kind of moved forward just enough for them to suspend him, but not enough for it to go to court. I mean, she's fighting for a jury trial because a lot of the legal representation judges are refusing to accept this case based on its merit, and so the problem between the Trevor Bauer situation and the Deshaun Watson situation is that the circuit courts in Houston, he's the star football player, so it's kind of like, letting the high school quarterback, I'll give you a C so you can play the homecoming game. And so,
well, I just want to add on to this because this is actually a great thing to bring up. Okay, if you are doming in any capacity, in real life, online, I don't care what you're doing. A lot of times a contract won't hold up in the court of law, but at least gives you proof that you had consent. Always draft up your own contract with whoever you're lying in bed with, okay? And I don't mean figuratively, just like whoever you're getting into bed with is sign on the dotted line, okay? So that you both are in agreement.
We got a comment from Roy. If you want fare and the way you want it, go to Burger King or Europe.
Exactly. Ain't gonna happen here.
So what you recommend? What you recommend is that I set up video cameras and record surreptitiously just in case.
No, that is not what I said. I said write up a contract, sit down and discuss it with the person that you're about to get into a situation with. Make sure that you dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and then sign on the dotted line.
But if you do want to, have that video backup, make sure you hang a nice pretty sign saying cameras are in use. Yes. And also get that nice little piece of paper with the signature on it that authorizes, that gives her consent, his or her consent, to be recorded.
Yes.
Consent.
Or the tree's consent. I mean, but have them sign as the tree, whatever you need to do, but just get consent.
Unless you're in the MLB, in which case providing that contract doesn't really do anything because he's still suspended, but he does have a contract.
Well, and that's just it. It doesn't hold up against, that's the thing. Like, I have people ask me all the time that are trying to get into doming and things like that. They're like, well, they say, write a contract. Yeah, but it's not going to save you in court because it's not admissible in court. It's really not. But it is when somebody's saying, hey, this person abused me. What? Line C right here. You see
now a good lawyer as I identify as, a good lawyer can say, even though the contract was signed and agreed upon at the time, the abuse still happened outside of the confines of the contract. The glove did not fit, and therefore you must have quit. Thank you very much.
It can always go that way, but that's why you have come to me if you need to write a contract. You do a very, very, very detailed contract, okay? Bullet points.
Come to me if you need law advice. Even though I'm not a lawyer.
Bullet points are your friend, okay?
I watch Better Call Saul. I'm all over it.
Shoot, we just in the first 5 minutes of this dang story. Okay, go ahead, Kane.
All right, so coming up on Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So like I said, I mean, that's kind of, yesterday's news now, but SafeWord didn't get to give their opinion on it. So everybody's been following the case. Everybody knows what happened. I mean, a lot of stuff has surfaced after the fact, and it's all here and there, but really what I really want to discuss as far as like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case was what it did for legitimate victims of domestic violence that are now stating that the case made them fearful to come forward and discuss their abuses based on, like the way that this trial went. And I think that that's kind of backwards because, I mean, however you want to look at it, I mean, the case wasn't not necessarily handled properly, but allowing somebody to make statements like that and just being able to besmirch someone's name like that and, call it out and have it get the notoriety that it did just based on, your, your fame. Because that's what really catapulted this, to the top of everything. Because if Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were just, from a podunk town in, like it wouldn't have gotten that far. And a lot of these cases, like they're not the first case, they're not the last. They weren't even the only one going on at the time. They were just the only ones televised because of who they were. And so for a lot of,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying for a lot of people.
Well, it was Johnny Depp who actually pushed him and his lawyers who pushed to have it actually televised, not her team. It was his. Because he wanted them to see, public to see everything that was going on and all these lies that are being told on that end.
You make the decision yourself. You watch it.
Public opinion is huge. It's huge.
But in the context of domestic, I guess you can say or not say, DV survivors or those that experience DV in the terms of not being able to speak out, I call the B the S on this, because here's why. Now, one of the key things about this particular case is at the end of it, Amber's lawyer, Elaine Bredehoff, went and did interviews and said that this was a loss for women everywhere, that women would be affected by this outcome, and they pushed that narrative. All right.
Right.
The consensus, the majority that was on Twitter and social media, were steering clear of saying, no, this Amber doesn't represent me. How she is talking about her experience does not represent me or my experience.
No.
It was a vast majority of people that were saying what she is doing is presenting false evidence. It was proven to be false. Mm-hmm. You could see it yourself in the televised things. Her stories didn't match up. Her stories of her witnesses didn't match up. So in the case, Elaine tried to say, "Oh, Amber recorded everything. So if you don't have a recording, then nobody will believe you." You can go with just your word versus his, but your word has to stand up to scrutiny. It has to be investigated. They have to see, and that is the point. You cannot say, "Oh, it's bad for us because people are not, because we're not allowed to speak." No, you can speak. You can make any allegation you want, but it has to be under the microscope, stand up to scrutiny. If there is no evidence, if there is just he said, she said, then there's a situation where you have to deal with it in that case. But to make a blanket statement that it's bad for all DV survivors, nope, I'm not buying it.
No, I don't either. I don't buy that statement either, because I've lived through it. I watched some of that, and to me, it wasn't somebody that had experienced that. More like you were presenting those issues. You know what I'm saying?
You were telling stories that you heard.
Yeah.
Amber Heard.
So I actually have some experience with that.
Say, I'm sure Gabe's gonna chime in. I know you got a personal story.
No, and this was actually during my time in the service. It's not necessarily like an uncommon thing. It's pretty well known throughout like all the spouses in the military that their partners will go on deployment and come back and be aggressive, and a lot of military spouses deal with domestic abuse, domestic violence, and they do their best to try and handle it within the military service instead of letting it get out into civilian court where it gets drawn out by the media for being like, all service members are violent. And I had a partner at the time who just striking similarities where you're sitting in a group of women, like all the spouses are hanging out, all of the service members are hanging out, and one of them says, "Oh yeah, like this, an event like this has happened to me." Now to fit in, my spouse decided to throw her hat in the ring and say, "Oh yeah, me too." Never once occurred or anything, but just because she was the new spouse in the group and trying to fit in, she made the statement without realizing how much repercussion there was to it, until I go to work on Monday and I don't get to even give my side of it. I don't even get an explanation as to what's happening to me is happening before I am, grabbing my stuff and heading to the brig for statements that I'm not even aware of.
Right.
And so within the confines of like this court case and everything, a lot of the stuff that was coming out and a lot of the statements that were being made and a lot of the methods that they were choosing to present the information, it bared a striking resemblance to my own experience where it was like, hey, this person ended up having to come forward later and say, you know what, yeah, I messed up, I said something I shouldn't have. But at that point, there is no turning back because even retracting your statement seems like coercion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like once that statement gets made about you, I completely agree with the defamation trial as it stood because hey, once that perception of you is out there, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't even matter if you apologize. It doesn't even matter if you made it up. It just there's always going to be somebody. Oh, she was coerced to say that. He's definitely an abuser because why would she retract the statement like that unless he made her?
Mm-hmm.
So
look at him. He looks like an abuser.
So
He's a Marine. Everybody know Marines beat their wives.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And that's where it becomes like, and that's kind of what this whole whistleblower thing is about tonight. That's where it becomes like, when is just saying it and coming out and talking about these when things haven't happened to you. When is that like for a payday? You know, because they hire on chicks for freaking all these court cases to either make it look more legitimate or to disprove the people that are actually coming out and saying this happened to me. You know what I'm saying? So the person can get off.
well, and
So
then
like, where is the balance? You know what I mean?
well, and the problem with the balance is, and I wish I had done a little bit more research into this because it was something that happened several years ago that got brought up, and holy hell, if it didn't, make everybody light a fire under everybody. Everybody was furious about this. Can't recall the town, can't recall anything other than just like the basic facts. But there was a guy who played high school football. He ended up turning 18, and because he was going to play college ball, and he actually had a bright future ahead of him. He already had NFL scouts looking at him in high school. Because he was getting accepted into a college that would have caused him to have a long distance relationship with his partner, she ended up crying statutory rape because he was over the age of 18. She got her father involved. He lost his scholarship. He was placed in prison, and it took several years before she came forward and said, yeah, I made it up and gave the facts of it. And it was proven to be without coercion because this person is locked up, doesn't have contact with her whatsoever based on, court orders. And so she just came out in a party and the information blurted out. She didn't release it. She basically was like bragging about it, like, oh, I got a dude locked up because I said he raped me. And so somebody did an investigation. Somebody looked into it. They found out everything was false. They issued him a pardon, but it's too late. I mean, he already lost a scholarship. He's not getting accepted into college. NFL scouts don't want anything to do with him. He now has to go out and get a regular job when he had such, opportunity ahead of him. But she didn't face any repercussion outside of, I think she got a fine, but there was no prison time. There was no, huge news outbreak over it, and there was no call for justice or anything. Just, oh, sorry about that. Here's a pardon.
So I'm going to ask our newest co-host here because she's the other woman on the team. So we're really kind of tackling this from the guys' end of this, but do you think that there's a lot of that that's going on right now with women? Do you think that it's something that is, because for me, it's almost like it's like a bandwagon and everybody's jumping on like, oh, shoot, there's payday. Hold up. We put something on too. It's weird.
I think it's something that's always, unfortunately, has happened. I think it's a lot more publicized now just because of, social media and everything's right at, our fingertips. It's right here. So it gets out there, and it's a damn shame because people who, are out to ruin their partner, spouse, or whomever that person may be, their lives like that, at minimum needs to go to jail, because that's ridiculous. Because abuse, rape, everything, that all of that is very real and very traumatic, and unfortunately a lot of women have some kind of encounter where a man has overpowered her, and unfortunately I think every woman will have a story of some sort.
Yep.
And
So yeah, that's the stats,
and
right?
but whenever you cry wolf like that, and just to ruin someone else, your life needs to be ruined for ruining someone else's life like that. Because,
Yeah.
not every man is a rapist or an abuser. There are some really good men out there. And for that
What?
person to ruin a good man's life like that, that's not okay. That's really
Right.
not, because she took his whole future away.
Well, and
I will.
I'm gonna piggyback on that for just a second because yes, you can take a man's whole future away, but let's flip this yet again. If you lying about trauma that you supposedly have been through, then you are diminishing the trauma that people have
Yes.
actually been through. Like
Yes.
if this actually happened to someone, 1 in 3
Mhm.
women, I'm gonna say it right now, stuff has happened to me, okay? You're diminishing the fact that that person has lived through it, survived through it. Like it's just a nothing. So I'm gonna lie and tell a story. Like if you haven't been through it, don't open your mouth. I don't care if there's a payday involved. Like because there's real people that have gone through this, even if it's not in that situation with that man. There's real people that have gone through this and going, for freaking real.
And that's why people didn't like Amber Heard, because they're like, her pictures and my pictures. They compared them. They put them on Twitter.
Right.
This is her.
Right.
Mhm.
This is me. And that's what DV looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
But
So
I,
I
I
really
will I will say part of the problem is when society became knee jerk, because what it is an overcorrection. All right, it turned the term believe all women, which meant before women didn't have a recourse. They something happened to them. Oftentimes there was nobody they could tell, and if they did go to somebody, the authorities, the HR, wherever, it was brushed off. Oh, it didn't happen, or no, you were mistaken, or you were drunk. So that's where it should have been. Believe them, and it didn't mean believe them outright. It said take that statement and then investigate.
Right.
Don't treat it like it didn't happen. Not just assume that it's true, because that's where we're at now. Somebody says something, assume that it's true, lock them up. Oh, it turns out it's not true. My bad. No.
Guilty before proven innocent. It's really
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, that's part of the problem is everyone's assumed guilty before proven otherwise.
right. I mean, for what's his name, Deshaun Watson to be freaking banned from 11 games. You know what I'm saying? I think that was the last thing that I heard. Like 11 games got taken from him suspension. You haven't been proved if you've done it or not. Like, why are you being suspended? You're guilty already? Like, I understand they got to make an example out of him or, like, protect their name. But, and then there's the problem. Let me protect my name, when somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
And it's the double standard that's what really gets me. It's the double standard because, all right, we're gonna take a different industry. All right, let's take the entertainment industry and we're gonna go to actors. So if you're an actor, like for example Kevin Spacey, all right, something happens, boom, you're canceled. Comes out, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but whatever happens, you're out of films. But now we have Ezra Miller. Now Ezra Miller is a special case. Okay, you may remember him from the Grindelwald. He was Constance in or Grindelwald. He's the Flash now. He was the Flash in Justice League, and he has gone loco.
Yeah,
he has gone plumb loco. I mean, we're talking assault, we're talking kidnapping, we're all kinds
Grooming.
of stuff. Okay,
Okay.
and he's not canceled. They still haven't come out officially and said he's out of the Flash. We're not releasing the Flash.
he's actually got a film coming out.
Yeah, he got booked for something else. I was gonna say he's still working.
He just last week released a statement saying, "Okay, actually, I may have some mental health issues, and I need to get some help."
And so where are they making concessions then with even in the stars? Because here's the deal with the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. Johnny lost everything before anything went through. I mean,
Yeah,
they canceled his shit. Canceled it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why Mads Mikkelsen was. And
Say that again.
that's why Mads Mikkelsen was Grindelwald in the third one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and on the Ezra Miller thing, just read an article a couple days ago. they still can't find the mom and daughter that were staying with him. Like there are still missing
cult
persons,
or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, there's still missing persons associated with this case.
Yeah, but the Flash is still, we don't know what's going on with that. So he's not been canceled on social media. So where's the equality?
Yeah. Yep.
It's the rules being arbitrarily enforced based on who, when, and where it suits them.
Mm-hmm. And if there's money to be made off of it, I mean, really honestly, because if this was let's just take the Amber, like Kane said, let's just take the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case. If they were regular ass people, this would have been solved in a day, and probably the wrong person would have been locked up. And
it'd have been a YouTube video. It'd have been a YouTube video somewhere and that's it, with a few views.
Yep.
Look at a funny court case.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, this is people's lives. You know what I mean?
Listen, what would you do? Here's a good question. This happened to you. You got locked up. What would you do if this happened to you?
I can't say it on live.
You got to join the Patreon for that one.
What would you do? Like for guys, it's if you're a guy and you got put in prison for something like that. I mean, we can all think of a few different outcomes. I would be very displeased,
to say the least.
Very displeased.
Well, it's just like, how do you compensate somebody for that loss of time?
Come on, man. And then nothing happens to you?
There was another court case where there was a guy who had been locked up for 20 years and new evidence came forward which proved him innocent. And the courts literally just brought him before a judge who issued an apology and granted him a pardon.
Yeah, no money.
Yeah, no money, no compensation, restitution, no. And so there's, I hate to say it, but I mean, that's a lack of justice if I've ever heard one. Because justice was served when you incarcerated an individual for 20 years.
And they lost life. I've got family members that this has happened to. They just lose time, their entire life behind bars for something.
You know what? I guarantee if that happened to me, I would become a villain. I would become a super villain.
Right. Like then what? Okay, well, I'm gonna get in trouble regardless. So.
I would become a cat burglar. That's it. Now you ladies, if in the rare case that it could happen to you, some dude said something about you, you got locked up. How would you feel about it? What would you do?
This is why I have itemized contracts. I will not get locked up.
No, you got a bad lawyer. You got a bogus lawyer.
Blood, okay? Signing in blood.
You got a bogus lawyer and a racist judge. You got the short end.
No, the whole thing is wild. It really is. Like I don't condone it. That's why I sat there and said, like, if you're signing on for a paycheck and this hasn't happened to you, you're not only like hurting the person's life and livelihood, you're also hurting other people's lives that this is really happened to, because I can't tell you the kind of things I've been through and then sat there and been like, here's the evidence, here's the proof, see my eye, and still not gotten believed. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
you walk into a door.
Right, like, wait, hold on, how does this not...
What were you gonna say, Callista?
Huh?
What were you gonna say, Callista?
What's that?
So what were you going to say?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind, and of course I think we touched on this last episode, was I'll cut you. You know, but on a serious note, just going back to what I said, abuse and everything is very real, and for you to minimalize that and to just say you went through it, and if you want to put that negativity on me saying that I did something that I didn't, I would go absolutely just what's the word you use? Displeased? I'd be very displeased, to say the least.
Displeasure,
I'd
yes.
be that
Extreme.
So some
because
Extreme.
yeah, you're just messing with people's livelihoods, their money, their relationships, and how other people. I mean, I really don't kind of care how people perceive me. However,
Yeah.
but in case you do care, that your perception, it will be hindered because of this. That's not okay. It
I'm
really
well,
gonna
just
lighten
isn't.
the mood real quick with an interruption from a commenter because Roy wants to know. He's really confused. Knight, you're not already a supervillain?
Oh yeah. Megamind is still developing.
He's like, wait, what? Wait, hold on, wait. No one let me know. Knight's not already a supervillain?
I'm still building the lair.
well, and so here's a thought, and I just popped into my head right now. So we said earlier, like crying wolf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you really call it crying wolf? Because at the end of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, he got eaten by the wolf for lying.
That's true. That's true.
So
Yeah, but it
can't
took three
even call
times. It took 3 times. So
So, as long as you get to number 3, stop at 3 for your payday.
So stop at
Hey,
2.
boy.
The third one's the one that gets you. Okay.
Right. Right.
All
and,
right. So
and this is why the Amber Heard thing, even if, because I can buy that at some point in time, Johnny Depp may have done something. Okay.
Oh, he's no angel. They are both, I believe,
Yeah, they're both
toxic
messed up.
towards
Yeah.
one another at some point. They're,
Right. It was a
he-
toxic relationship.
oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I'm not trying to minimalize that at all. There was absolutely, they were bad for each other at one point
Right.
or another. Things may have been thrown or tossed around or whatever, but not to the extent where what she has said in court and done in
Right.
court.
You could have gotten away with, oh, you know what? He hit me a couple times, and that's all you need. That's all you needed.
Right.
But you
Right.
built this narrative. Push down the stairs. Here's this wine bottle that's there, and here's another picture of another day, even though it's the same wine bottle. And here's me, and then here's me tomorrow, although it's the same picture. And this is what kills your story.
Yeah.
And I don't think other other DV victims would do that, because if you do, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Just tell the truth.
And here's the funny thing. They didn't have to hire crisis actors and other people to come on and say, hey, he's violent. He's pushed me in a club or something. They didn't have to hire any other women because she did it to herself. Like she was her own unraveler. That whole court case was just weird to watch. I couldn't watch.
There's no comparison. You can't compare. You can't say that this is bad for other women, because if you do the same thing she did, I'm sorry, then you deserve to get laughed at.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. So here's two new ones that are a little bit more recent, and this one just happened earlier this week. Everybody remember the good old heavyweight champ George Foreman?
Oh, I had a grill. I got a grill.
Did too.
So the man's pushing 80,
Yeah.
right?
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's up there. And so it just recently came out that somebody from his past, 1975, in fact, came out and said that he had sexually abused her while she was underage. And there's the big question that kept coming up, because I mean, like, they threw the year out because she's saying, oh, back in 1975, all right, which is almost 50 years ago,
Right.
right? And so they're saying, isn't there something called the statute of limitations? But no, because now and as a psychology major, I really have to, I'm really conflicted on this, because there's something called repressed memory syndrome, which is a trigger for that memory, makes it seem like yesterday, which kind of throws the statute of limitations out the window, because now is when she's being affected by this. And so now they're taking it seriously and doing an investigation. And like I said, it happened really recently. So there's not a whole lot of information out there about it outside of like the headline that, hey, George Foreman sexually abused me when I was a minor back in 1975. she was 16 at the time. 14 when she met him, 16 when she said these events occurred. And my my grandparents, they got about 8 years difference between them. You know, my grandmama was 16 when she got married. You know, like, I hate to say it, but those were the times. And so if you're looking at having a trial in the modern age on events that occurred at a different time period, I mean, there's got to be, I hate to say it, but some leeway with, you know, how drastic these measures can be exacted upon this perpetrator, if you want to call it that. Because, I mean, like I said, it was a different time. I mean, not to say that it was any less acceptable, or not to say that the laws were different, but just the way they were enforced, the way they were perceived at the time. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for 15, 16-year-old girls to get married to 20 to 22-year-old guys. You know, the age difference between them was huge. And so, I mean, that's what's going on with George Foreman. Now we also have Gary Busey, which Gary Busey brings me to a very a very good point.
How does he do it? He's like,
a very good point that I'd like to make, because it's Gary Busey. Now, a couple of women came forward saying that during a photo shoot for at a horror movie convention, that he grabbed two women by the ass and was staring at a third woman's breasts, and so all three of them are claiming sexual assault. And Gary Busey's statement is that, hey, I was a photo shoot, there was a camera woman there, her assistant, these two models, and he was like, we posed for a picture, the whole thing took less than 10 minutes. Where did I have the time to do these things that they're claiming?
Mm-hmm.
And so where I want to draw everybody's attention to is the third woman's testimony, saying that he looked at her breasts and she felt uncomfortable. I can agree, you know, like if Gary Busey looked at me, I'd feel a little uncomfortable. I mean,
that's the point. Have you seen pictures of him? This is his face.
Yeah, it's just
Normally, on a good day.
right.
So the one thing that I really want to ask is, I mean, is Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, are they just, you know, the stellar gentlemen that we should all model ourselves after, or was it okay for them to perform these acts or do these things and nobody's willing to come forward because they enjoyed it or were okay with it because, oh my God, they're so handsome?
Oh no, there's the double standards, because there's pictures. There's, I think, pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio looking down, kind of at somebody's down shirt a little bit. Paparazzi caught him. You know, I'm sorry if not every dude is as chivalrous as we would like to make them seem. And if we could catch a glance every now and again, I do it.
I'm sorry, I'm a woman. I have boobs. You go to the grocery store, you get undressed. I'm sorry, you just get undressed by eyes everywhere. You're picking out a pair of pants. You're picking up pants, and guys are like, yeah, she's fertile. You know, like
now to say that it happens doesn't necessarily mean that it should happen. Okay, just because it does happen all the time doesn't mean that it should happen. I will concede that.
You can't regulate what people look at and see. Now, when they start touching, then there's an issue.
Okay, you're in my personal boundary, my personal bubble.
Yeah.
But people are looking. We're human. We're attracted to things. Take it as a compliment and keep on with your day.
You know, like staring.
I am a straight woman, but even I like seeing breasts. You know,
right?
It's just
because they're nice.
They are
very nice.
They are very nice. They're gorgeous.
I agree. But like there's actually in the UK, when you're on the other ground, right? They have little placards that are like staring is sexual assault if you don't do it. Okay, so if you're staring inappropriately, you can say to somebody, "Can you quit staring at me?" It should be done, right? Because it can be taken as aggression or hostility in some places. Fine, okay. So you can say, "Don't look at me like that." That's one thing. But the touching, if he's taking a picture and he's got his arms around him or his arms down here, and it's just resting because there's a number of pictures of celebrities with their arms somewhere, kind of
And then where it's not supposed to be.
not supposed to be. In fact, that's one of the reasons that a lot of people don't know this. When you take a picture with Keanu Reeves, he does this weird "don't touch you" thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look at all his pictures. For that reason, he does
Yep.
not touch fans.
Yep.
For that reason, that's your fault. That's y'all fault.
Yep. Gotta protect yourself. Shoot. Especially with all these whistleblowers out here just trying to get a paycheck.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up with my final hot topic of the night, after everything that we discussed. Gentlemen, if you are out there, let me point you in the direction of, there is a company called Galmato Haven where they will rejuvenate, repair, and send back good as new your real sex doll.
You mean Sally can get fixed?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tim is gonna be my new best friend again?
Wait. When you say
Wait, what's the
rejuvenate,
number? Address?
wait. Hold on.
Rejuvenation.
Hold up. I could understand.
And if
I could
have a
understand.
male doll, do I get to have it bigger? Like I'm like, okay, look.
No. That's an
So-
upgrade. No, you
Oh,
can't
it's
have upgrade.
But that's also rejuvenation. I mean, come on. I mean,
No, that's like giving him his
No.
hair back where you pulled it out.
Oh, I don't want him hairy. That defeats the purpose. I get a stuffed animal if I wanted that. Okay, anyways. Go ahead, tell us
So-
about this rejuvenation sex
So
doll
go-
clinic.
This company, Galmato Haven, they found a niche in an industry that was desperately needing their services, which is have you guys seen the real sex dolls?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I have.
So
Pro.
the company,
They are
the
pro.
name does the company justice. I mean, these things are put an AI in it, and it's
No.
damn near.
No.
The things are heavy though. They're
And then they
super
start
heavy.
talking, and that defeats the purpose.
Right,
Well,
so-
and they would have to have AI that had movement because those things are heavy.
No.
Yeah, I don't want my.
No. If you've seen the AI doll that moves, it is spooky. You don't
Oh,
want
that
yeah.
thing is
Trust me.
creepy. Yeah, they like did a display during
No,
the
she's like-
pandemic. Yeah, and she.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's weird. It's freaking weird, dude. But like, she answers some questions that are just like, "Oh, I don't like any of this. None of it." did no one watch Terminator?
No.
So this company bills itself as the first and only official Real Doll certified repair center. So they have a team of technicians who promise to treat it like a queen and send her back good as new with head to toe repair and retouch. So
Yes, I'm going. How do I go? Oh
No.
No, it's for the dolls.
just for
I
I
dolls.
can be a doll. I
You
need
need a certain
rejuvenation.
percentage of
Oh.
silicon in your body for that to work.
That could work. I
Oh,
need
some
a boob
women
job.
qualify then.
Yeah.
I need a boob job. Let's do this. Let's go.
So just in case you want to avoid, the situations that these gentlemen find themselves in, you can always get a real sex doll. The only stipulation that the company has is that you have to own the doll for at least a year before sending it in for repair. So I don't know exactly everything that goes on with the repair. They're kind of keeping their proprietary technique to themselves. But I mean, they have a lot of really good reviews of people sending their real sex dolls out and receiving them back just like, the first day they got them.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, this popped in my head. This is why I'm over here laughing. I'm like, I would hate to be the receiving team of someone that has. We're shipping in the fucking sex dolls after a year. We're cleanup before it goes into rejuvenation process. You just get like this doll just filled with dried.
Yeah, you can stop.
You better have a
Wearing
power
gloves.
washer
The
and like
jaw is all
gloves
out of
and a
whack.
hat and a mask.
Yeah,
So-
if I was a person on that, I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing a hazmat suit.
Right,
I'm
right. Talk about some.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Absolutely. Even if that wasn't like work required, that's my outfit for the day. God damn it is.
Yep.
I am coming to work in Radcon level 4. Like
I would love to be at a dinner party and somebody goes, "So what do you do for work?" "Oh, I am receiving for this sex doll
rejuvenation.
company, rejuvenating for this. Yes, we're the receiving team, and we rejuvenate So wait, you clean up what?
No,
So-
not just. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if they're like different departments? So
And we
like
make the silicone tighter, you know?
like one person's on, you know, silicone, another person is in like the disinfection and cleaning department.
I don't
Another
want to
person is like in skin grafts and hair, like hair replacement, and each person has like a different role.
So
Yeah, because I'm sure there's hair replacement. People like to pull
these
hair.
things are like completely customizable, and I mean with their top tier quality, and so they run you upwards of about $3,500 to $5,000, right? Not including shipping. But
Hey.
just in case you know you don't have 5K to blow on your real sex doll, the company also offers, in case you're strapped for cash or have questionably low morals, a large line of certified pre-owned models for you to
Oh,
select
dear.
from.
Hey,
They're refurbished. They're refurbished. They're good as new. It's
you
like
can't
an Xbox.
expect every doll to be a virgin, okay? All right.
It's an Xbox. I mean,
What
it's
would
good
you-
for
like,
everyone.
Is there
Plenty time for
is there
everyone.
QA for that where it's just like, hey man, we had to let some guy over here, run a test run, make sure that she was tip top before we sent her out to you, but
Yeah.
we sanitized
Sure,
it.
yes.
They call that department quality assurance.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I'm
I'm a
saying. It was
QA.
like, is there a
I'm a
QA,
Sign me up. Sign me
right?
up for QA.
It's
I
like
would just hate to be the person that gets the little note, with your new sex doll that's refurbished, and it's like, this one has been tested out for a full year.
Yeah, you always find those notes. You always find those notes in like the weirdest places too, right? When you have something that's like, oh, this was tested by Inspector Number 37. You're like,
Right, for a full year.
tucked
This
in
is-
a little
and
crevice.
then it says refurbished on the side of the box. You're just like, yeah.
Oh.
Yo, could you imagine if that's the way the company shipped it out? Like if they didn't have discrete shipping and it's just like a cardboard box, life size, big ass box on your front doorstep. Amazon dropped it
Right.
off. It says real sex doll on the side of it, and then it's got a big red stamp on the side, refurbished.
Oh, it would still get stolen.
Oh,
It would
man.
still get stolen.
They sports surfers and fucking take that in the quick. I ain't got.
Mhm.
Help me! This thing's heavy. Help me!
It would still get nicked. Thugs.
Oh my
Unbelievable.
Roy says, "What if the doll looks like Gary Busey?"
Ah.
Oh gosh!
Okay, hold up,
And with that face, we're gonna end it.
real quick.
No.
Real quick. All right. So last week we brought during the hot topics. You remember how I was talking about that team in Australia that wanted to rejuvenate and revive the Tasmanian tiger.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just based on the current track of our society and where we're heading, as far as OnlyFans and just porn in general, how far off do you think we are from a market? One, just talking about the real sex dolls. Do you think that you could request a real sex doll? Do you think they have an Angelina Jolie or a Scarlett Johansson model? And how would you feel about that?
They do have those models.
But I mean,
They have to be licensed.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, as that person, how
Oh, hell yeah.
how comfortable
Roy,
are you?
Hey, Roy, you want a night doll? I'll hook you up.
I got a 3D printer.
It's got a 1-year warranty.
It has
gotta
to be
be-
tried.
You gotta be gentle for the first year.
Good.
And
Good.
furthermore,
This is gonna be the first model out. SafeWord endorsed and backed. You know what I'm saying?
how far off into the future, technology wise, if everything comes out copacetic and our society continues to grow, thrive, without all the shit that's going on. Let's say we survive the droughts, the heat waves, and wars and everything.
Yeah.
How far into the future do you think we are, ballpark range, from celebrities and OnlyFans models selling DNA so that way they can become clones, so that way for your own private use?
Oh.
What's happening? With the
five-
what?
5 years.
What?
5 years?
5
No, I think. Look. If porn stars are already making casts of their vajayjays and you can go buy them in bulk, okay? And you can see what it is to F Tara Patrick. You know what I'm saying? I think they're already doing it.
5 years to get commercialized because
commercialized.
There's no company that's offering it yet, but the technology's here already. So
yeah, aren't they already collecting like DNA samples
Yes.
for these uber rich people that
yeah.
want to be cloned?
DNA, digital samples, they're scanning them so that like the whole thing with the acting and like you saw it in Tron. Tron was where it was really like huge, where they took people and made them younger. Then they were taking dead actors and throwing them in Star Wars and stuff. They are literally cataloging.
Yeah, technology's here.
Yeah, I don't think we're far from it.
How bad do you want to know your ancestry?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't send your DNA in.
That's why I don't. I'm like,
you are putting it right into the computer. Don't do it.
Like to send in the
Just saying, how bad do you want to know your ancestry?
Don't do it.
Right.
I'm 5% Irish. Great, terrific. Don't care.
Great.
Yeah, I'm 5% Irish, and there's a me out there just locked up in a dungeon somewhere. Just
right. Not being a dog.
Yeah, locked in a dungeon cleaning sex dolls.
You thought you guys thought Lolita Island was bad. Wait till they come out and find like the hidden bunker for the uber rich celebrities, where it's just like, all the clones that are there.
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't really die.
Who would you like tonight? Angelina Jolie, Scarlett Johansson, or Marilyn Monroe? you don't. I swear to God, there's a place like that.
Hey, can I have the Miley Cyrus, please? I hear it's on discount this week.
This week.
Britney's getting too expensive. She's back on the market. No, we're not doing Britney this week.
Not fair.
You're tickling Roy's fancy there, Knight. He says, "LOL, draw me like one of your European girls."
I'm here for it.
He said he had a printer. He said he'd send you a doll. He didn't say he was an artist.
Well, I expect a painting next Friday night. That's all I'm saying.
Get cracking.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, can we take this out?
Yes, ma'am. All right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on your Friday. We know everybody's got some stuff to do, but you know you had to join us just real quick before you went out for your night of crazy party, and you had to join us and figure out everything that was going on. Don't end up like Gary Busey. Don't end up like Deshaun Watson. Don't go for a massage on a Friday night at this hour, because that's damn obvious. So with that being said, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for hanging out with us. And remember your safe word. Ask for consent. And we'll catch you guys next week. This has been SafeWord, and we are out. Later, y'all.